In this video, we're going to talk about and show how to add an image, like an external graphic, like a PNG or something, into a p5.js project. Just to note, it doesn't necessarily, well, it doesn't exactly work if you're trying to run it locally on your computer. You need to do some things to make it work because of browser security settings. So we'll also talk a little bit about that, and I'll make another video showing exactly how to make it work on your machine too. So first off, what are we actually talking about doing? So in a previous video, I made sort of a different version of this, right? I had these blocks that colorized behind it. I've added some snow and some other lines. But more importantly for this video, I've added a little picture of Mega Man, right, that pops up all over the place. And he is a GIF right here. Now this GIF file is animated, but he is not moving on here. So this method does not animate a GIF. It only shows the first still of a GIF, but it also works with PNGs or JPEGs. So how do we do this? It's not hard. It's not hard at all, actually. So I'm going to make a copy of my sketch.js just so that way if I mess it up I still have my original, and I'm going to alter it a little bit to be able to show you how it works. So I've simplified it a whole bunch. I've taken out all of the noise that you have here, and now we have just the squares, right? And I want to put Mega Man on top of them, right? Well, actually, it doesn't really matter where I want to put Mega Man, but I want to put Mega Man in here somewhere. So let's show how I did that. So here is my sketch.js file that my hello test.html page is using. So if I open this in Atom, we can see here, right, here's the sketch.js. Doesn't matter what this is called as long as the two match, right? So here this is. So first thing I need to do is I need to create a variable. You could use var, you could use let. Let creates a global variable. It's typically recommended that you don't use global variables unless you actually need them, so I'm not going to make one. I'm going to call this graphic, right? And then inside of function setup, I can tell it what that graphic is. Like that's where I can assign Mega Man. And then in my draw loop, like everything else in the draw loop, this is where I actually tell it to draw. So inside of our setup function, this is where we'll actually define what graphic contains, right, what the variable holds. So we'll do graphic equals, and then we do load image, and then inside of here we need to do the path. So it doesn't really matter that this says graphic. This could actually say anything as long as it matches our variable name, right? So this is just referring to the variable that we created earlier. It could say image, it could say Mega Man, it could say whatever, right? So inside of load image, this is where we need the file name of the graphic we want to use. So I have mine inside of this folder called images, and my sketch.js file and my hello test.html file are in this main folder. So that means that it first needs to navigate into my images folder, and then it can find Mega Man. So images slash, and then the name of my graphic.gif. This loads, well, it needs to be a string. There we go. This will load the location of this graphic into this variable, and then we can actually call it inside of our draw loop. So now in here in our draw loop we can actually put the graphic somewhere. I'm just going to put it at the very end of my draw loop. This last curly brace is the one that closes this draw loop, right? And so putting it just down here should be fine. I could put it somewhere else too. Actually, to actually have the draw loop use it, we type image, and then we need to tell it the name of the variable that's containing the image location. So I called it graphic, so it needs to be graphic. And then we type the coordinates of where we want it to load, right? So if I do 0, 0, that should be in the top left of the screen. I could also use random variables in there as well. So semicolon, and that's it. So if I save this and I try running it, it won't work. And the reason it won't work is because of the browser security settings that I mentioned earlier, which seem to be quite a pain to change, and it's easier just to either upload it to a server or to run a local server on your machine. I'll go ahead and show you that it works by using GitHub, and then in the next video I'll show you how to run a local server on your machine really quickly and easily using a Google Chrome plugin. So if I go to my GitHub account and I go here, I already have images with Mega Man here, right? So I already have this folder structure that I was talking about, right? And then all I need now is to actually upload my new file. Now this is an old one I created earlier, so this is not what I want. It's not the same file, so I'll create hello test 2, and then this has a different version of Sketch in there, so maybe this needs to be Sketch, we'll call it Mega, and that means that I need to modify my hello test 2 to match that. So what did I call it? Did I do -mega? I did -mega, right? So that way it's pulling the right script. So now I can go on here and I can upload those 2 files. There's Mega and there's hello test 2. Add both, commit changes, and in just a moment we should be able to see that it works. Okay, so that's there. This is the example I already showed, so if I add the 2 on here to be that other file, there we go, right? So we've got these colored blocks that I already had, and then we have Mega Man appearing on top, focused on that 0, 0 location, right? So it worked. So that's how you do that. So in the next video I'll show you how to actually make it work on your local machine, so that way you don't have to use server space somewhere.